Hello and welcome everyone to the 10th Bright Garden Voices meeting. I am Arnold Alaverdian, one of the co-founders of this project. Bright Garden Voices is a grassroots initiative which provides a platform for constructive dialogue between Armenians and Azerbaijanis. We are not affiliated with nor funded by any organization or government, and we do not purport to represent any nation, state, or group. We host online meetings where different guests share their experiences and ideas concerning the Armenian-Azerbaijani conflict or any other matter relating to the two nations. Our Zoom meetings also include live interaction with our audience, and the meetings are recorded and made available on YouTube and as podcasts. We have recently expanded our activities to include Instagram live interviews and in-person meetings, which we call Garden Chat and Tete-a-Tete, respectively. And we are planning to further expand our activities. Ayla Azizova and Maryam Yeryazarian are my co-hosts today. It is Ayla's first time hosting, so we will have her introduce herself first. Ayla, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ayla Azizova. I'm born and raised in Baku, Azerbaijan. Currently, I'm living in Netherlands. I'm an architect, and my key interest, the role of architecture in post-conflict places and geopolitical conflict, and necessarily what impact can architecture contribute towards peace. And I'm very happy to be part of this platform and honored to co-host this meeting. Thank you.
Maryam, would you please go next?
So my name is Maryam. I'm a journalist and documentary filmmaker based in Yerevan, Armenia, and I'm a collaborator at Bright Garden Voices, and I'm very happy to co-host this meeting and to see you all.
Thank you. We have a special meeting today in honor of the recently deceased Georgi Vanyan. Last month on October 15th, Georgi left us after losing a battle with COVID-19. He passed away in Georgia, the same country where some of his initiatives came to life. Georgi grew up in Abovyan, later graduating from the Yerevan State Institute of Theater and Cinematography. Since the 1990s, Georgi has advocated for peaceful relations between Armenians and Azerbaijanis, setting in motion various initiatives. More broadly, he envisioned the South Caucasus where all the peoples in the region would coexist peacefully and in mutual prosperity. He was perhaps the most outspoken and controversial peace activist in Armenia. Today, we are joined by several of Georgi's friends and acquaintances to discuss his work and legacy. Let us now go to Maryam for today's agenda.
So we already introduced the project, and later we'll go to the discussion with our guests. If you have any questions, directly send them to Arnold, or you can ask it after the discussion if you have your microphone and camera on. If you don't want to use your name, you can go on surname, you can go on with your first name only, or you can use a nickname. Also be aware that this meeting is being recorded and will be available later on our social media. We'll end the meeting with the closing remarks, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Let us go to Ayla for the house rules.
Yeah, let me introduce you to our house rules. As you can see on the screen, we have some basic rules for this meeting that I'm kindly asking everyone to respect. In short, we do not tolerate insult, disrespectful language, and generalization about ethnicity, denialism of trauma or events. We call everyone for empathy and not to accuse. Every participant is only responsible for his and her opinion and not representing any opinion of the government or any nation. Remember, we are not here to agree, and we are here to listen to each other, and to disagree is more than okay. And let me start introducing our guests. For guests, I'm going to start introducing Yuri Manvelyan. Yuri is a journalist who lives and works in Yerevan. He's working with the friends and colleagues on information project epress.am. which focuses on the problems of militarism, nationalism, and homophobia. Yuri previously worked in various online publications on the radio, in newspapers, as well as serving in the army and attending university. He was born in Kirovabad, now in Ganja, in 1983. Yuri has been residing in Armenia since the age of 6. Welcome, Yuri. And second guest, Zam Abassanova. She's a former peace builder for Armenian-Azerbaijan conflict, born during the First Nagorno-Karabakh War, and spent a great deal of her career organizing dialogue between Armenian and Azerbaijani civilians, based in the Netherlands now, and supports of women entrepreneurs from the South Caucasus through the Business Consult. Welcome, Zamira, and I'm giving my word to Mariam to introducing other two guests.
Our second guest is third actually, Edita Badasyan, who used to be a freelance journalist in Georgia, contributing to several independent media outlets such as Caucasian North, Women Connecting for Peace, Caucasus Edition Journal of Conflict Transformation, Chaykhana, J News, and also producing radio reports for German language radios in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Her topics of interest and coverage are politics, peace building in conflicts, minority rights, focusing on IDPs, LGBTI, ethnic minorities, and women's rights, social problems, gender, human rights, etc. One of the most important regional projects where she was involved with her colleagues from Armenia and Azerbaijan was a series of joint articles titled The Taboo Topics of South Caucasus. And after moving to Berlin in 2017, she has mostly worked in another field. She's currently an international recruiter. Welcome, Edita. And our last guest is Haji Hajiyev. He's an Azerbaijani peacemaker, currently living in Norway. He participated in the Plощadki project in 2012. Welcome, everyone. And now let us go to the questions. Our first question goes to all four guests. And the question is, please briefly introduce yourself and tell us a bit about how you met Georgi Vanyan and what kind of initiatives were you involved in with Georgi and what was your role in these initiatives? Whoever wants to start.
I can start. Hi, I'm Edita Badasyan from Georgia, now from Berlin, and I was active reporter that time. So I met Georgi 2012 in Tekali because I came to know that there is some interesting project. Even I didn't know it's a project or some interesting meeting. So, and I went with other friends who are also journalists. We were invited. Like, I don't remember how I came to know, but somehow like via my other journalist friends. So, and we went 2012 summer to Tekali, and then at that place I meet first Georgi and many other peoples who were peoples whom I saw later also in this place. So I was actually involved as a journalist. So I was going to Tekali and I was writing after this some articles or making some interviews with people, like not only about the topic of the meeting, but maybe something separately. So also I was involved in some other project also as a journalist. It was the name was Civil Hearings. It was vice versa. It was like Tekali was meeting mostly Armenian and Azerbaijani people in Georgia, in Tekali, and Civil Hearings, it was the meeting in Yerevan with Abkhaz and Ossetian people with Georgians. So, and also in that place in Yerevan, Georgi was also like he was a co-organizer of this. So we were we meet each other like many times, and in Georgia and in Yerevan actually. So this is what I remember from that time.
I can go next.
Yeah.
So I was born in Armenia, but raised in Azerbaijan, and that kind of a path put me into a peace building path. And in fact, I met Haji, Yuri, and Edita in Tekali. I was introduced by Onik Krikorian when we were doing other research project in Georgia, and he told me a lot about Georgi. For a while, I planned to go there, but I think that summer when Edita was there and Haji and Yuri as well, I finally managed going to Tekali village to check it for myself. What is it? Why everyone is talking about this initiative? And then I met Georgi. We had an amazing chat, and I realized how important it is to have that kind of an open platform where anyone and everyone is welcome to come in, take a microphone, and then say, what they have to say about about their past, about their reflection, about their traumas, about what do they actually feel towards each other. And that really impressed me, that there was no moderator in here. Yes, there was an organizer, obviously. Tekali Association was the main organizer. But it was us, the people, that made the Tekali platform, the Tekali Association, live. What we said, what we experienced, what we told to each other, that's what made the Tekali so special. After a while, I became the Azerbaijani coordinator for Tekali Youth Platform. So I was organizing youth trips to Tekali events and helping them to build their first contact with their Armenian counterparts.
Yes, I I can continue. And I met many of my friends in the same 2012 year in Tekali, and Zamira, Edita, Yuri are the people who I met there, and we became the friend, and our friendship continued till nowadays. And it is not so easy to find a friend in this age, especially long-term friends. But the atmosphere in Tekali was so honest, so friendly, so warm that it was possible to build such relationships with many people. And I participate in other projects as well, and peacekeeping projects. But it was the formal projects, formal meetings. Yeah, we discussed some topics, and that's it. But in Tekali, it was not so. It was just a friendly company, friendly atmosphere, which is make people close to each other, and it was one of the big differences of the color process of Vanyan organized project. I don't know, meeting or and I was only 1 or 2 times in this project. I participated not so often, but even these few times were enough to got very close, very warm friends, and I'm very thankful to Georgi for it, for my friends. for my personal friends from other side, from Armenian, from Azerbaijan, it's not matter. People are people. So I'm very thankful to him.
My name is Yuri, and I'm journalist covering regional situation. And I think you can't avoid Georgi's activity when you cover it. And I think I was, and I need be closer to Azerbaijan. And I think Tekali process and this Georgian region, Azerbaijani populated region, so was the closest place to Azerbaijan. And as was said about friendship, etc., I don't know, is it relevant to talk about that now? But not all projects, not all your working experience become friendship or something else. And I want to mention also Luisa Pogosyan, who is in this photo, I think behind in darkness. And this very symbolic because she was always in somehow, not in darkness, but behind the project. But from 2006 or 2008, when I first meet Georgi, because he invited a group of writers and journalists from Azerbaijan who came here, and it wasn't as like this traditional way of meeting. That was for first time, and since that I meet Georgia and Luisa Pogosyan. Maybe because of security issue, she was behind Georgia, because you know this nationalistic groups, extremist groups, and violence that these people try to make violence around Georgi. Maybe because of that was the reason why Luisa was behind. But I want to know that Luisa Pogosyan is also a very important person in this situation as Georgi. Then I will be more active and during discussion. That's all.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Sorry again for the inconvenience. And now let's go to Ayla for our second question.
Yes, so our next question is addressed to Haji. Haji, how would you describe Georgi as an activist, and what made him to stand out? And is there anything that you would like to share about your personal relationship with him? Any funny stories or anecdotes?
Yes, I can say that Georgi was a strange person, unique person. He was not ordinary person. I actually didn't have a chance to be with him a long time, but when we met, it was very open, friendly, warm meetings. We could speak about anything, and it was the very open discussion without yeah, it was unique person. I think he was the I can say he was the conscious, he was the honor of his nation. I cannot imagine some person like Georgi in Azerbaijan society. I try to remember. I cannot imagine person who do that did Georgi, and that in that manner in Azerbaijan. I cannot, and I think that he was the person of future, not nowadays. and yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, it's not so easy to describe him in simple words, but I can say that his legacy will not die. Someone said that, yeah, it could possible that people will forget him, and his legacy will die. I'm not thinking so. I think that when these people, when these nations will decide to live together without conflict, and this moment will come, I'm sure, then people will remember him, and his legacy will help people to find a common language. Not find, just remember the common language which they can use to be close to each other. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Haji, for sharing this experience. I see Yuri is raising hand. Do you want to add something also for this question, Yuri?
No, I don't know if it's in your schedule, but I want to start a discussion because I want to react. What is danger? Danger is to make a brand from Georgi, and yes, he is unique. I'm okay with that. But what he said is very simple, and making brand is something when like you should be unique or strange or something else. To say that you are, for example, against the war, or you want to decide how to deal with people from a neighbor village. So that was a problem. The standards of normality, who decide these standards? So people, let's call them elites in Yerevan or Baku or somewhere else, they decide how we should deal. And they label us as, they mark us as Azerbaijanis and Armenians, etc. So I'm not 24 hours Armenian. So don't put me in these standards or something else. So what we saw, for example, in Tekali, that you shouldn't be activist, you shouldn't be human rights defender or someone else to talk just with people without killing them, without that. So this is maybe we had less time for shopping during this kind of meetings, during this kind of projects, because Tekali is, as you know, a village, a very common village for Georgia, for Armenia, and for Azerbaijan. Common, the landscape and how people live, etc. And so I think this was about that conflict. People who had troubles with connection with another people because of their ethnic, I don't know what, because of historical justice but how it works. So this is very absurd. This is not normal. So that's why Tekali was important, because can I decide? And is it normal not to kill? And this is a very popular question. And governments always talk about let people teach peace. People are not ready for peace. What does it mean? So I'm not, who is not ready? So I'm not ready not to be killed. I'm ready. I always was ready. When I was born, I was ready not to be killed, and I'm avoiding violence, and etc. etc. That's why. So Georgi is important, and but what was he talking about? It was very simple, and why he tried to make this platform, not to talk for others. Others could talk with each other, and it was normal. And no matter how we choose friends, how we choose colleagues, So how we meet people, and how it could happen that we don't have colleagues or friends from neighborhood. And we had it in, I don't know, Sweden, Norway, Russia, and etc. So I think this branding is something dangerous, what could happen with Georgi. So that you should be unique or activist or someone else to be free to talk, to be against war. Sorry for interrupting.
No, thank you a lot, Yuri, for your opinion. Actually, we're gonna go deeper in also in the Tekali project, and I'm gonna pass my word to Mariam for the next question.
Just before going to the question, I would like to mention that within the audience, there are people like former participants of Georgi's project. Please be active during the discussion and also to share your experience, and also if you have questions, yeah, just please come up. And our next question is for Edita and Zam. Would you please briefly describe the Tekali process and share your impressions and thoughts on the project? Edita, have you start?
I will start. Okay. So it is very important what Yuri has already mentioned, that Tekali process, this project is really, it was different because it was, the meetings, they were, yes, as you see, in village, in the yard of some just people, these village people who lived there. So it was always different yards, not always the same yard, but it was always so nice. We were sitting outside, and yes, what was the most important? Not only journalists, experts, and some I don't know, political activists could meet there, because as always, very often in all these peace building projects, it is like this. People only with this background meet with each other, talk with each other, and if it's a European country, or as Yuri told, people then go to have a shopping, and it is the end of the story. But here it was really another perspective, that just people from villages, they came, even maybe, I know it's not maybe, I know that it was for many of them, especially for young generation, they saw first time in their life Armenian or Azerbaijani there in Tekali. Just normal civilians from villages, they came and they took part in this project. Even I don't want to say this project, name it project, it was meeting of people. So, and it was very, very important in this, because after each time we had some like general topic, and we had also people who had some reports reading in front of audience. But the most biggest part, it was that people then sit with each other, you see, eat with each other, talk something. And I saw also people who looked with fear first with each other, because they came first time. And I saw this fear in their eyes. And for me, it was surprising, because as I already told, I'm from Georgia. I never had this situation. I was not grow up in this situation. So I didn't knew that really people can be afraid of each other only because in front of them is so-called enemy, because they were told that this is our enemies, yeah, Armenians or Azerbaijanis. So, and to build this trust, for building the trust, it was a very good and common place. And it was not like a conference room where only experts are meeting and talking very seriously. We had so many jokes there. We had so many interesting, funny situations. And it was also to organize this. Zamira will tell more because she was also later co-organizer and everything. Yeah, sometimes it was rainy, sometimes it was very cold. It was not always such a sunny weather as we see there. So it was really different situations. But the most biggest part, I don't know if we will have I hope that we will have, but we didn't had before such meetings, like so many just normal common people from villages, they came and they can see each other, and yes, and just to discuss even their daily life there. So it was very important in these meetings in Tekali. And Georgi was always so active. Really, he was, as I also heard so many times, like he's crazy, he's marginal. There are not so many people like Georgi, and so, but somehow he made that it was functioning so many years. So somehow he had this energy with people who helped, obviously, and who believed in this. So it was really very, unique experience, let's say, what we had at that time.
Samira?
Yeah. Thanks, Edita. Very nice description of Tekali. For the people who have been told all these years that the other side is your enemy, people have fears. They're scared of each other. You get this impression that without the police, without the army, the other would definitely come and kill you, right? And then here's the Tekali, like a tiny small village, and right next to the highway, it's an open field. It's like there's nowhere basically to hide, right? There's only one tree. In really hot summers, all of us were just, standing under that tree trying to get a little bit of a breathe. Here it is, open space. Come, talk to each other, stand next to each other. There is no need for police. There is no need for army. There is no need for arms and tanks. There is no need for a government to protect you from each other. These are random people who are just curious what the other looks like, These are the people who have been hurt. These are the people who miss their neighbors. These are the people who miss their schoolmates, that they have the memory of, even if it's vague memory. Once in one of the Tekali meetings, I was sitting across a very young boy. It was like 12, 13 from Armenia, and he was staring, like full on staring. And I asked him, what are you looking at? And he was like, you're so normal. And I was like, it's interesting, right? I wonder about that too. Yeah, I don't have tail, I don't have horns. Exactly, you don't either. And then we both started laughing. It's like, that's the first interaction that you get with each other. Like, wow, you're normal and you're not gonna kill me, and we're sitting here eating kebab together, and nothing is happening. I think what Georgi managed doing is just make a very safe place out of an open field where everyone was welcome to come in and to say what they think of each other, what they remember of each other. Some were hurt. Some were just saying, I lost my father in this war. Some, I lost my mother in this war. Some, I lost my leg in this war. And that was a space for them to share the pain with each other, not to romanticize it. It's very painful. But then here it is, all of us are together sharing what we feel, what we have gone through, and what is in our mind, what is in our heart. And that is what Tekali was, an open space, an open platform. That's why it's called a process, not a fluid space. It's just a process, it's a river, and it just takes you to somewhere with this relationship with yourself, with your hurt, with your pain, with your feelings, with your peace. It takes us somewhere, no one knows where, but then here it is, the space, to start that process, right? And that's what Tekali process was. It was just an open plane for all of us to reach out to each other, see each other, and break the first ice, so to speak.
Thanks to both of you. And now let's go to Ayla.
Yeah, thank you, Zamira and Edita, for these beautiful stories. I think this human-to-human experience, that's what actually is a key for resolving a conflict. And our next question is towards Yuri. Yuri, Georgi liked to screen Azerbaijani film in Armenia by organizing film festivals, and we know that he encountered some obstacles during that time. Do you have any memories or reflection about these kind of events, and that would you like to share with us?
I even participated.
Yuri, we cannot hear you. No.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's better. Yeah.
Most popular videos and most popular media covering were about how he couldn't show these films, and sorry, but I saw that films, not only me, and publicly. So and it showed how media works. So when you participate and when you follow it by media, even by live stream, so that was very important even from this point of view. And I had one article about film festival, just shortly describe every film that was shown during the festival. As I said, and even this shot is taken from video when he was attacked, and we should know so what we are discussing when we talk about Georgi Vanyan and his activity. We are talking about monopolies. We are talking about censorship. We are talking about I don't want to say freedom or something like this, but also about freedom to choose even what I want to see. And it was marked, this festival, as all people in Armenia against that. And who talk this way? So what kind of people say can talk for millions of people? So that was my experience, because I think the conflict we have and conflicts we have in our everyday life, the big conflict, global conflicts, festivals we organize or we take part, they are not about Armenian and Azerbaijani. So so we should stop this. So Armenian and Azerbaijani, these words, these definitions are too small to describe life, but what we have, so that was, and the angriness, so-called angriness against Vanyan and etc. was organized from very straight groups of people, from very straight, I don't know, special security service guys or police guys, people who had profit or who had order to do that. Sorry, that was not my expression. So that was reality, and still is, because you can't say that people in Armenia hate everything what comes from Azerbaijan. I started to do this mistake, Armenia, Azerbaijan. You can see that in music and etc. etc. So the rooms, the prison we are in, named Armenians and Azerbaijanis. If something doesn't allow me to watch film, to organize something, so that's problematic. So that was. So he tried to be out of that, and this is not very specific thing, because as we know, it's very popular. You can read and listen and hear about censorship in Soviet Union. In place where we live, it is very common, and we are against this censorship. We are very critical to that. We are very critical to governments. We are very critical to violence. But how it happened, how this magic trick works, when you say Azerbaijani or Armenian, so you are not so critical, so you are not so independent, so you are not against censorship, you are not against monopolies in every sphere of life. So I think this festival was like showed this trick, that how absurd in what kind of absurd media reality we live in. This was very, so as I said, it was media picture, and when you are when you see films, when you see people who are there, who are watching films, it was another reality.
Thank you very much, Yuri. Yeah, I think it's important to see and acknowledge this side of the story as well. And I think Marianne can tackle more deeper this obstacles issue with her next question.
Yeah, before going to the question, again, I just want to remind to the audience, if you participated in Georgi's project, or if you would like just to share your opinion on Tekali project, share your personal experience and your personal views, please do that during the discussion, the Q&A that we're going to have after the main discussion. And if you don't want to ask them yourself, you can direct them to Arnold. Yeah, please do that. Yeah. And our next question is for again Zamira and Edita. We know that Georgi and his family and some people associated with him have been subjected to threats and harassment or various kinds of hardships. Could you please share about your experience, like your personal involvement to Georgi's initiatives, and also please elaborate on how it's like being a peace activist in general. Zam, maybe you could go first this time.
Yeah, I can go ahead. Well, I'll share my personal experience, of course, not, you know, what everyone has experienced in Azerbaijan, for example. I was prosecuted by government, and not only, but also people as well, like my colleagues, my friends, my childhood friends, my classmates, my relatives. Everyone was against of my participating and organizing peace initiatives, and generally speaking about peace in the state of war, and at the same time, you know, calling other people to be part of the same kind of madness, as they would call it. That was basically a no thing. I faced a lot of hatred, a lot of hate speech, lots of angry messages and threats, and you name it, all sorts of things. Lost a lot of dear people to my heart and to my past, you know, childhood memories, but that's another story. For government, Georgi per se was not a threat, but people who were coming to Tekali initiative, that was a threat for Azerbaijani government, and especially for the agents who have interrogated me, specifically from the Ministry of National Security, from police, from border control. Oh my God, even like train controllers, everyone was just saying, this is wrong, you know, you're doing this is wrong, what you are trying to do, and calling other people is also wrong. And there were moments when, I mean, Tekali was an open platform, right? So anyone was coming there, including the national security members. So there was a photo of me, for example, from Tekali, where a known an agent of the Armenian national government was sitting behind me, and that was basically a big thing in Facebook. Everyone was sharing, everyone was tagging, everyone was calling to catch me and kill me, that kind of a situation. It was basically twofold, both from the government, specifically from Ministry of National Security, and from the people themselves. And that was happening for two reasons. One was basically they think if you are Azerbaijani, you are Azerbaijani. So that means you have to hate together with everyone else. And if you do not hate, you know, there's a problem in there. And second was fear of basically unknown. They don't understand it, and automatically they're scared of it. They were scared of me. They were scared of associating with me. They were scared of talking to me. They were scared of even sending messages with me because they thought government is checking all of that, and then that somehow might affect them as well. So it wasn't about Tekali in general. It was me as an Azerbaijani. How could I be fooled like that to spend time with Armenians, to believe that, you know, peace is possible, especially for someone who has lost her home. They were like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. You know, apart from everyone else, you have left your home in Armenia. You are a refugee. They kicked you out. You should be even more angry. And I was like, exactly, I should be even more angry, and I'm not. You know, if I'm not angry, you shouldn't be either. So yeah, basically hatred was expected of me, and when they couldn't see it, that was scary for them. Why don't I hate?
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing your very touching story. And Edita, would you go next?
I can comment on this question, but I didn't experience this some threat by myself because I'm from Georgia. So I'm citizen of Georgia. I grew up there. So from my side, let's say, or from the Georgian government, obviously it was no threat or something like this. But generally, like, I would say, like, some of my friends or someone who heard, like, society, let's say society, and I also have friends in Armenia and in Azerbaijan as well. So I heard always the stories about this, like, and I heard also these comments, okay, Georgi Vanyan, maybe better not, like this. They knew that they cannot say me more than this, because it is my choice where to go and why to take part and so on. But it was like better not, and they didn't believe. And as I was already telling, he was more like a marginal person or crazy person. So like, yes, some meetings in some place, I don't know what you do there, like this. But I never had some threats. It was like just this not sympathetic comments, let's say. But I knew that, yeah, my friends, and as already Zamira told, she's also my friend, like in Armenia and Azerbaijan, some of them, they had really not nice situations already with more than just some comments toward why you are participating and so on. So it is really, I think the problem is also now because the peace building process should go on. And after war, what we had last year till now, I don't know, really, maybe we can discuss it later in the discussion part, but how the peace building process should be built, with which kind of people it should be built, in which kind of platforms, because it collapsed so much. And from that time, from 1 year, actually it is my first discussion where I'm taking part, because yes, also so many peace activists, they became aggressively pro-war activists, and so justifying the war and so on. So the peace building process should go on, but it should be rebuilt. And so it is really very important, and we should think how to do it, in which platform and everything, like, yeah. Because now it became more and more, now we have more victims. I say we because I consider myself from, like, we are from one region, so from all sides we have these victims. and people who lose their houses and everything. Like the pain became bigger and fresher one more time. So, and but the process should go on. So that's why we should, the people who want to live in peace should think more and deeply how to do and how to deal with this now.
Can I quickly jump with a question, because you are from Georgia, and could you just shortly elaborate on the role of Georgia itself on this peace building and connecting Armenians and Azerbaijanis, because oftentimes those projects are in Georgia, and what do you think, what is the role of Georgia in this regard? And also because we have, there's an Armenian community in Georgia as well, and we know how mostly diaspora and Armenians think about Armenian-Azerbaijani conflict. Would you please also elaborate on whether Armenians who live in Georgia are, what do they mostly think about this conflict, because they live peacefully in Georgia oftentimes? Could you please briefly elaborate on those two questions?
Okay, first of all, also I want to mention briefly that how Yuri told this, that Tekali, yes, it's a Georgian village, but it is mostly populated by Azerbaijani people, and also the very interesting experience was for Armenians who came there first time, and sometimes they sleep over also in these villages. So, and they knew that they are in Georgia, but still they were sleeping in Azerbaijani houses. So it is like, this is also the unique experience what they had at that time. And they saw how much common still they have together. And what about Armenian and Azerbaijani societies in Georgia? Of course, it is, yes, I try to be very briefly saying about this. I would not say about everyone, because it's also a big difference to talk about Javaheti and Marneuli region, let's say, like Yakve-Mokarti region, because these ethnic minorities, they live a bit separately from the capital. So, and they are like more in mono groups there, watching Azerbaijani television or Armenian television, and they're building their minds a bit influenced already by this propaganda. So what is happening in Tbilisi? It is obviously every individual has their own opinion, but generally we don't have problems till now. I can just say very classical story. I have cousins in like now in Tbilisi, and she had a birthday, and everyone was there. They are Azerbaijani friends with their children, Georgian friends and Armenians. And when I went now in summer to Tbilisi, I went to visit them. So Azerbaijani children from their neighbor, they were at her place, because they're like, and then this neighbor, the mom of these children, they came, she told, oh, they are by their second mom, they are always like to be there. She gives sweets and so on. So in Tbilisi, it is another level of understanding. And also I was asking them during the war, how are they doing? They were sitting together, they were eating together, even during all these war days. And it was no harsh discussions. They were just feeling bad and painful what was happening in the war, but they didn't had discussions between themselves. It is a very strong relationship. But I cannot say about all people who are in Georgia, because I also know there are some activists, they call them patriots. And they are doing some demonstrations and so on. So I would not to go in this part, but generally I'm glad that in Tbilisi we can still keep this peace just with normal people, without mediators or someone else. It just because of this, that it's a normal human relationship. Okay, I hope I was briefly.
No, it's fine. Thank you very much, Edita. Thank you very much. And now let's go to Arla for the second question. Next question.
So our next question first to Haji. Haji, what lesson can activists in the region take from the Georgi's work, and what do you think is the best way to honor his legacy?
I think the most important lesson that we should take from in Georgi's work is to be people, to be human, not be Armenian or Azerbaijan or any other nation, member of nation, but human in first place. And if we will do so, we will everything will be okay. I will add some description to the Tekali process. It was the atmosphere in this project, in this meeting, was the kitchen atmosphere. You know, kitchen in meaning which we used to use in post-Soviet area. It is the kitchen in Soviet, for Soviet people. There is some word, kitchen talks. The talks which people do without any political corrective manner. You know, the speaking, the talk without any political side censorships. You know, when people just talk about this or that issue honestly, without opinion, without governmental opinion or national opinion, just think that they care about. They can remember the good times when Armenia and Azerbaijan people lived together, and the atmosphere of Tekali was so kitchen atmosphere, where people got the chance to speak with each other without any coupures, or you know, without any censorships. And it was the important difference as well. And I think these things, these small maybe things which we cannot notice, but this is very important when people try to be people, try to be human in first place. I think this is the first and important things which we should remember and continue, maybe, if we can. But I'm not sure that yeah, Yuri said that Georgia was not unique, he did nothing special, we can do it also, but in practice it's very difficult. I don't know. I'm looking forward and waiting other people like Georgi who will do it, but I can't imagine someone from Azerbaijan or Armenian side. We can talk all about this and be 100 times more peacekeeper than Georgi, but whether we can do it, whether we can do that did Georgi, it's a big question.
Thank you very much, Haji, for your opinion. I see Zamira raised the hand. If it's possible, Zamira, we're gonna also give the same question to Yuri, and then you can finalize it. So Yuri, the same also question to you. What lesson can activists in the region take from Georgi's work, and what do you think is the best way to honor his legacy?
So Georgi's example was unique also because not only, as I said, the government or nationalistic groups, these Nazi groups were against him, but also so-called civil society, people who are in the field and doing projects much more often than Georgi did. And they were against it because, as Haji said, so we are not ready to go this kind of place. So let's follow people who are talking about a village issue, about Karabakh, about everything what is far from these capitals. And he was doing that with cheaper budget. And we can't avoid this budget issue because maybe people who are peacekeepers, peace builders, and these NGOs, maybe they were, I want to believe they were enthusiastic 30 years ago, but now I think they became maybe cynic, or it became just their work, everyday work, and they became more bureaucratic, and they became less about people who live there. From our way of life doesn't allow us to live there. Who is ready to go and live in Tekali or in Karabakh? So it was good place to keep silence, to try to keep silence and just listen. Maybe you will hear something else. And now let's follow who talks. Let's follow these talking heads. No, don't follow them. Do we have chance to keep silence, to listen? So in Tekali sometimes even these traditional talking heads was there, and they was experts and other people. They came there, politicians even, and their speech. You follow their speech. This landscape somehow doesn't allow them to be as they are on our public TV or somewhere else. So what can we do? It's very hard. It's not very hard to talk different than propaganda, this official propaganda does. It's not hard, but it's very hard to go to village and to organize something there. It's very hard to contact people, to just, I don't know, this is very big, hard job. Just, we are talking about job. So maybe we are lazy. And this is question of laziness and question of, are you ready to listen during, because we mostly we participate in the most funny part, most easy part of this process. And I spent days in Tekali, and as was mentioned, it was like I lived somehow in Azerbaijan there for a week, for 4 days, different times, and I saw how it was hard to organize, I don't know, one day event, and how long it took, and how many people without knowing Azerbaijani language. What kind of work it is. So I'm not ready to do that if I am alone. maybe I can imagine if 4 or 5 of us will give their time for that. For example, let's do it. Do you have 2 months for that? From your everyday life? Can you change your, I don't know, everything? You should, and not only, it could be, okay, let's do in Armenia, in Armenian village, let's do not this traditional NGO activity, but something what is really interesting for us also, and for people who involved. You have 2 ways, and you can find in regions, in every village in Armenia, you can find very good, very normal organization or activists
who will organize everything you want. He can bring people from school for your workshops, for your trainings. He can bring the head of village. He can give you the school or something else, and you can have your report, good report, and everything is fine. In every region, you have these special people who can help you organize NGO activity with very straight budget. And second way is really, do you want to work there? Can you avoid this village activist? Can you not be loyal? Can you find people who are not on top of this village, of this region, who are not good with head of village, etc. So Vanyan did, I think, the very special, very big work was how he could, I don't think, maybe it was about balance or something else, without knowing Azerbaijani language or Georgian language, but he could do that. If we can try, let's try and understand what does it mean. Let's try once to do something like this, and I think very many illusions we will lost. Okay, I'm enough. It's enough. I wanted to go back about. Oh, okay, no, I'm done.
Thank you very much, Yuri. I just wanted to say that unfortunately one of our guests, Haji Hajiyev, has to leave, and I just want to say thank you on behalf of the Bright Garden Voices. Thank you for sharing with us all your experiences. And I think it's very important to have this kind of people and to cherish the courage and strength what they're going through. And we really hope that Georgi's work will be never forgotten, and a lot of people will take upon on his work that he did. Thank you again, Haji.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Yeah, so now we're coming back with the question, actually with the comments that probably Zamira wants to add. Zamira?
Yes, thank you. I wanted to touch upon a couple of things. First, like Yuri mentioned, Georgi was really unique and so different. Going to an Azerbaijani village in Georgia and asking random people to host Armenians, Azerbaijanis, and anyone else who was coming to Tekali process to live in their house, to shower in their bathroom, to eat in their kitchen, and then, you know, talk to each other about peace. That's like unthinkable. How could any Armenian just go to an random Azerbaijani village and ask people to do this and convince them to do so for so many years? That's just unthinkable. It is definitely in a positive sense of the word. It's madness. When I think of repeating Georgi's work, could any Azerbaijani go to, for example, Javakheti and try to convince the Armenian population in there to host Azerbaijanis in their house and talk about peace and talk about unity and go crazy? I don't think, honestly, I could do that, even if, you know, even as a peace builder, I've been working with communities since 2010, but I don't think I would be brave enough as Georgi to do something like that. So in a way, repeating Georgi's work is unthinkable. I cannot even imagine how anyone can do that. In terms of continuing peace building between Armenians and Azerbaijanis, absolutely can, and absolutely we should. We should never stop doing that. And there are a lot of organizations that are still functioning, even if they are doing it in different levels, not among regular people, but, you know, among academicians. I know organizations that are doing among teachers. I know initiatives who are doing among scientists. So this kind of peace work will definitely continue, but obviously it will not be as open as the Tekali initiative was. And I don't know if they can be a Tekali initiative without Georgi being in it. In terms of Georgia's role, if we are thinking about a mediator between Armenia and Azerbaijan as a neutral power, neutral force that brings these two together and gives them a chance to talk to each other, Georgia has never been an official mediator. It is too involved as an economic partner, for example, to Azerbaijan. It is economically dependent on Azerbaijani oil money and gas. And we have seen it in the case of, for example, Afgan Mukhtarli, how politically Georgia is involved with Azerbaijan. And that does not put Georgia in a right position to become an official neutral mediator. It's just impossible. Georgia wants to have good relations with both, but the power is not balanced enough for Georgia to become a mediator. And they have always refused being an official mediator. They gave a place like, come to Georgia, be our guest, do whatever you want, but we don't have to be the official mediator. So that has always been the case. But also the times have changed in terms of we needed a physical place, physical ground to come together, because back then the digital media was not as developed as this. Having a call like this, with every corner of the world, apart from Skype, what else was there, right? Now with the development of the digital media, it helps us to be able to talk to each other, to have conference calls, to have events, to have, webinars, to chat with each other without the need of a third country as a mediator. So I would say that kind of a need has kind of died out. Yes, we do need Georgia for a lot of other legal reasons, where the organizations who cannot register in Azerbaijan anymore, they are still functioning from Georgia, and it's not a secret, everyone knows that. But in terms of Georgia's role as a peace builder, I think that ship has sailed. What we have to do as Azerbaijanis and Armenians, seek each other, find each other, talk to each other, and continue talking until there will be enough political will in both countries to actually open up to each other. I'm patiently waiting, when will I be able to travel to Armenia, for example, and be safe to at least see the place where I was born, right? To go to my village and see where I was born, where I lived 4 years of my life, and taste the feel of a little bit of home as well. But that time will definitely come. Until then, our peace with each other at least over the digital media should continue. Like what you guys are doing, Arnold. It's so brave and it's amazing. And I hope there will be many more other initiatives like this to bring people together, to share, to talk to each other, to pose an opinion and disagree as well, which is really important too. Peace building doesn't always mean, I keep telling it to my friends that when we go there, we don't all cuddle and hug and kiss each other. Sometimes we fight, sometimes we argue, we disagree with each other, but then we disagree by facing each other. We talk to each other. That's the most important part of it. So I hope that there will be many more initiatives like this coming from the people themselves, to be able to argue, cooperate, share, just open their hearts. And hopefully that will be the Georgi's legacy, because again, Tekali is not a place. Tekali is the people. For me, Tekali will continue as long as I'm friends with Edita, as long as I'm friends with Yuri, as long as I'm friends with Haji. And that's what I really appreciate what Georgi has done. He brought all of us together, gave us ground, and gave us a chance to hear each other, feel each other, and be friends with each other. That's what peace is ultimately, right? It's not about politics.
Thank you very much, Zamira. And I want to thank all the guests for sharing their experience. And I think It's definitely for us a big motivation what all of you guys did, and for next generation it's some sort of setting an example. Thank you again, and I'm giving the floor to Arnold to continue. Arnold.
Thank you. Thank you to all our guests. Now for this segment of the program, we are opening the floor to the audience. So, and especially if any of you have been involved in Tekali or in any other of Georgi's initiatives, we would especially like to hear from your experience, your reflections, etc. If not, we will just take answers, questions, and forward them to our guests, or if there's anything you want to share. If we don't have any questions right now, let us go to, I believe, Onik, you wanted to say something. And by the way, thank you for allowing us to use your photos from Tekali.
Not at all. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
First of all, I'd like to thank Bright Garden Voices for doing this. I'd also like to thank Yuri and ePress.am for being one of the few Armenian media outlets that actually covered this event. Apparently my voice is a bit low. I got a message. I hope you can hear me. I just wanted to say something. I try to be brief because I know Bernard also wanted to speak if he's still around. Just very quickly, Zamira contacted me on the 24th of September last year, asking if she could interview me on peace building. And I said no, because I had been so disenchanted by peace building. And I told her quite literally, there is no proper peace building. War is inevitable. I had no idea that 3 days later or 2 days later, it was going to actually take place. This was a shock for me as well. And I think Georgi understood this as well. And I really wish that people had appreciated Georgi when he was alive. I spoke to Georgi at the end of October. He was in Tbilisi, and he rang me up and said, Onik, we can't meet because I think I might have COVID and I don't want to put you at risk. And that's a typical example of who Georgi was. I wish he had taken care of himself and got it vaccinated, but well, he didn't. I want to go to Yura's point, although I'd also like to stress as well about the Georgia thing. There are actually Armenian and Azerbaijani co-inhabited villages in Georgia. I mean, they're not the norm, but they do exist. And they have remained tranquil. I was recently there, and there is no problems between them. Yes, some people are upset and other people aren't, but they still maintain their interaction. But I want to remember that in 2009, Georgi gave an interview to an Azerbaijani newspaper where he said, communication is not treason, it is a natural human need. And I still swear that this is one of the most important quotes I've ever heard about this conflict. And I know Yuri has been to some media peace building projects. And I remember Yuri was also very cynical and against them because they were just a joke, I guess. And going back to this peace building stuff and where next, there is a meeting in Brussels at the end of this month. People are being flown in from Armenia and Azerbaijan to Brussels to meet and talk because, well, I guess it's better to spend more money on flying them into Europe than to send them to Tbilisi, for example, and to talk. And again, it's likely going to be the same close circles, the usual suspects, and so on. So I'd like to really hear, how can we get things back on track? And again, I'd like to say that I think Georgi would love Bright Garden Voices, because this is really like the virtual equivalent of what he was trying to do, bring people together. So I'm not really sure if I make any sense, but I just wanted to say that. I guess my mind is a little bit of a mess. From time to time, I curse Georgi. Why didn't you get vaccinated? We needed you more than anyone else at this very moment in time. We seriously did. So I just think I'd like to hear from everyone is what can we do to get peace building back on track? Because it is institutionalized. Way too much money is being spent. It's not inclusive. and it doesn't reach real people. And this is what Georgi did. He went to the markets, you know, he went to cultural centers, you know, really. And the point that Haji made, it's not about being Armenian or Azerbaijani. It's about people meeting and understanding that both are people. I really don't know if I made sense, and I'll end there.
Thank you. Thank you. Before we move on, is there anyone wants to react to what Onik said? Any comments?
I guess I can say something because it's a little similar to what I wanted to state. And if this is what we're doing, Bright Garden Voices, if what we're doing is essentially, if we can use it as an example, as a virtual version of trying to create a space for two people to come together and talk, then I think not only should we be continuing this, but I think it needs to be used in ways within communities in other countries. Because we have a diaspora, both Armenians and Azeris have a diaspora. So if we think like, if these platforms reach internationally, there's still people in those countries that could somehow come and meet. And if they do come and meet physically, then I think that gives more leverage to these social media platforms, because it's almost like this connecting chain, like it's the initiation process. Like you join these platforms, you come, you talk, you meet. And then if, let's say, you start to meet people and you're like, oh, I live in Sweden, and oh, I live in Sweden too. And then you go and meet each other in Sweden. Now you're creating an actual physical community. And when we think of like, how do we move forward in trying to develop, like, to move forward more in peace and like work towards peace, which is going to be more challenging now after another war. But people need to talk within like communities that they live in. And I think like there is never really going to be a proper reintegration process, even if on a cultural level and social level, people don't hang out, don't talk, don't join these kind of platforms. So if we even think about like, how do we move forward with the peace process, and we just see it like on social media, people arguing about, well, the state's not doing this, well, the government's not doing this, well, they're not going to do anything. Like, that's just my personal opinion. Like the people need to do that. So I think like this platform and other platforms I've come across, Tekali is an amazing idea, but it does seem very difficult. But again, if you have like these social media platforms, like showing people like this is what we can do, and then they can maybe kind of create their own communities on ground, that's very successful, because now you're kind of transforming the cultural, the social like idea of each other. And if we don't do that, like I don't think that could possibly happen, just having a state level interaction, or yeah.
Right, just to add that Andrea mentioned, you know, the diasporas, and Armenian Azerbaijani relations are, you know, more importantly, of course, in the Caucasus, but also communities in the diaspora places like Russia, France, the United States. There's sometimes violence in these areas, so people are affected. So, you know, it is also important for the diasporas to engage too, especially for the case of Armenian diaspora, they hold so much, you know, they have probably a bigger voice on social media. And a lot of Azerbaijanis are interacting with Armenians from the diaspora, etc. And their organizations also. So I think Armenian Azerbaijani relations also need a global, you know, platform of interactions also. But first and foremost, of course, in the region is most important, I believe. Bernard, Mr. Klassen, I unfortunately apologize for cutting you off earlier. Would you please continue? Maybe introducing yourself and how you're involved.
Yeah, I did not understand that there's a difference between guests and audience. So I thought it's my task to introduce myself at the beginning. I was never in Tekali, and I only got in touch with him 2 years ago. This is, I had been working in the international working group for the release of prisoners of war and hostages of the Karabakh conflict. And he was getting in touch with me regarding 2 persons who were by that time in Stepanakert Khankendi imprisoned, and I was myself interested in getting in touch with him because I was also looking for some new ways because we were just at the tupik. So at tupik is we didn't know how to continue working with our working group. So I hope to get some answers by getting in touch with him. How can peace work be continued in the Caucasus? So okay, that's all I wanted to say because again I was never in Tekali, unfortunately.
Thank you. Before moving on to other questions, Yura, you were continuing on a point. I'm wondering if you wanted to continue from your previous question. Yuri?
Sorry. Which question?
Well, earlier you were continuing on your points. I believe you wanted to talk about, and you caught yourself up. So this is a good time maybe to continue.
Okay. So it was about violence against people who involved in peace building activity or who are not repeating the propagandistic stuff, and we should do we have agenda when we participate in something, when we are doing something? So I know that government yes, government, for example, of Armenia, they used me or us more than we can use them. That's why they are government, that's why they are oligarchs, because they use people. They don't ask questions, they don't hesitate when they contact people. And I don't know why they don't beat this activist and why they put in prison that activist. And I don't want to go deep in that, because many years, 20 years, we saw how they played this game. Armenia is more democratic, Azerbaijan is more autocratic, and and they started to compare how many fingers is broken in police, in Armenian police and in Azerbaijani police. So when we are deep in that, so breaking fingers is our agenda. So do we have our agenda? From one point of view, they punished Vanyan. They censored him, but from other point of view, they show, look, we have Vanyan, and what do you have? So do we have place to say, you don't have me? So where is that place? As I said, this very small group of people who are not trustable, who were not trustable, they decide and they continue to decide. And we talk about without political orientation, we meet each other, etc. No, I can have political orientation, and being against war, against very direct war, with very direct vocabulary. I'm against that vocabulary. I'm against that language, and I'm angry. As Zamira said, I'm angry. I'm really angry. But don't teach me angriness. So when someone is angry, you shouldn't say, you should be angry this way, you should love this or that. So that's what, if we are talking about what we need, so we shouldn't, so peace building or being against war is very political agenda, and it's okay to have political orientation or agenda, etc. And when we follow how governments in this region or in post-Soviet country or at all, maybe everywhere, I'm not so deep, how they press people, how they rule people. So they're very common. And when we see how people want to resist, so they are like became very unique. So Belarusian people are unique. You can't be part of their resistance. Or Georgian, so you can't put your nose to Georgian politics or Azerbaijani politics. So if I'm journalist in Azerbaijan, okay, they say, okay, you are a citizen of Azerbaijan or you are a citizen of Armenia, you can come. And so what does it mean? We shouldn't play this game like I'm good Armenian because I'm talking about what so-called Azerbaijanis want to listen, want to hear. It's not about that. And if I'm journalist in Azerbaijan, if I'm taken to Azerbaijani police, if you are taken to Armenian police, what are you hoping for? If you want to do, I don't know, business, your activity, who is your friends? Who is your supporters, or what is your hope for when you live here or there? And look at authorities of this country who know everything, who know the truth about how Karabakh people should deal. Who is ready to go there and live? It's really, as I said, not a perfect place to live. When we say Azerbaijani Karabakh, what does it mean? Karabakh without Armenians. When we say Armenian Karabakh, what does it mean? So don't share crimes that we didn't do. We are not criminals. It's not normal. You showed a picture of Georgi's dog. Very normal people, not marginal people, killed that dog. They shot that dog, and it is normal. Okay, it is not this is normal. Georgi is marginal, and people who killed his dog are normal. So how it works? How we connect with each other, not Armenians and Azerbaijanis. I'm not talking about let's love each other. There is no love. There is no love in Yerevan. There is no love in the small communities, big communities. I'm just talking about how it became normal, for whom it's normal to kill, or to explain me why 100 million of people disappeared from one place and went to other place. How it's normal, how we have media in Armenia, in independent Azerbaijan, how we have media that can exist 30 years, ignoring ethnic cleanings, or explaining that this ethnic cleanings is historical justice, but that ethnic cleanings is genocide. How it happened? This isn't it stupid? Last time I was Armenian, it wasn't a success story. They didn't allow me to go to a European Union country because my passport is Armenian passport. So that's what I want to say. This there is a legal way to talk. Media language is not so you should know this language. There are words we should use always when we are talking. It's not good way to listen people who are talking about violence. If someone came to you and say I was violated, you should say, you was violated because someone was violated also somewhere else. It's not good way to contact with people. And this is police people, military people are doing that. And they are not marginals. So people whose work is kill people, they are not marginals, but we are. So people how people became policemen. So most of people are not engaged, are not involved in war as killers. Being killers is a very specific experience. And then it's you need to help that people, not give them very high position to rule people, to decide how people should live. And now any war will give that people more chances to decide. People whose work or whose every day is violence, they are we know that people maniac, how we say maniac, serial ubийца, killer, serial killer. So we punish them, or who are rape people, so war is about that. And we normalize this. We don't there are difference. The difference is not among people with Armenian passport or Armenian surname. The difference is among people who are doing violence and who can't resist. So that is my agenda. Can I have my agenda or not? So and people who do violence, they even know not only how to артаксел выгнать.
Kick out.
And where to do that. They know, go there, you Azerbaijani faggot, or you Armenian, I don't know what. They know everything about me, and they don't want to listen. Sorry, I have fever, that's why I'm too emotional.
Thank you, Yura. So many good points you've been mentioning throughout actually this meeting, and especially about how those in power, elites or certain groups, use their resources and power to frame and control the way the society imagines itself, both its own society and other societies in other states. So I think that's a very, very relevant point, because people sometimes they feel like they have to mobilize behind a certain narrative, behind a certain rhetoric, and I see this a lot, with people in the Caucasus, but not only, all over the world. But yes, I think we definitely need to touch on this, and in order for there to be any kind of a meaningful step moving forward. Zam, you have your hand up, please.
Yeah, thank you. I think I forgot to mention one thing that is really important to say, how much peace building community has been affected by donors and donors' selectivity to which peace builders to give money and to which peace initiatives not to give money. It has created a lot of conflict among actually peace building organizations and peace builders themselves. Since the war, the active war has stopped, I've been reaching out to European peace organizations that used to have active initiatives in South Caucasus for many years, until 2014, 2015, when the Azerbaijani government became a lot more crazier than it was before. But anyhow, and their response is that we did not see results. I was like, what do you mean result? What kind of result are you expecting to see? Yeah, the numbers are low. What kind of peace organization can put people's peace into quantifiable numbers on how many people actually come to peace? What kind of logic is that? What kind of peace that is, and what kind of peace will this organization and their money will bring into South Caucasus if they do not understand what the actual peace means for these people? Just being able to talk, just being able to actually express your anger, like Yuri is doing very rightfully. You don't have to justify it under your fever, Yuri. You have a right to be angry, and you have a right to express it. And what kind of organization can say that is not peace? That is peace, You expressing yourself, me expressing myself, many others, Armenians, Azerbaijanis, anyone who has been a victim of the war, being able to express themselves. That is peace. And none of these organizations are going to understand it as much as we do. We, the Armenians, we, the Azerbaijanis. That's what we have to, walk. That's what we have to do. Just talk to each other. Organize it among ourselves. We don't have to wait for another organization, another donor. I had a meeting in one of the embassies. I will not mention it in here.
And I asked them, why did you stop funding peace building initiatives? Yeah, again, quantifiable numbers are too low. People are still fighting. People are still angry on the social media. That's why I'm not giving money. And I was like, can we just step back a second and look at your budget, what you are spending for peace building and what you're spending for war? Can we even compare your budget for war? And can we even compare your budget for peace? Please, let's do it right now. I mean, for so many years, we have been dependent on all these fundings. I'm gonna say it very openly, screw them. Sorry, Arnold. I know I'm not supposed to swear in here, but we don't need them to come and help us to build peace. We have to do it ourselves. No one is gonna feel our pain the way we feel. No one is gonna feel our anger the way we feel. That's what we have to do ourselves, the Armenians and Azerbaijanis. Not Georgians, no EU, no Western diasporas, no one. Those who have been affected, those who are sitting in there and sucking the pain out. That's us who have to do the peace, not others.
Thank you, Zam. Thank you. And this program, you can of course get your frustration out. It's an open discussion, so this is the place to do it. I see that I will go to Edita and Mariam next, but I think Onik had a very quick point he wanted to make first.
Well, now I have another new point. Zamira, yes, you're right, screw them. I'm really sorry, guys. But and also your emotion is very well taken into account. I think we all feel like this who have been involved in this for like 20 bloody years now, and are waiting for some results, and we're not seeing any progress, and it's really time that we just started speaking openly, in my opinion. I just wanted to say though, with regards to what Andrea, is it, said about diaspora. I think one thing that we saw during this conflict was that for the first time more than ever, we saw actually diasporas involved and engaged, and not necessarily, not in a good way. So therefore, I do think that this is a very important platform, because you are engaging those. And now this has become more encompassing. The world is connected. And unfortunately, this is not an isolated conflict anymore. But I just want to ask one quick question for Yuri. This is a bit of a sensitive question. With regards to the pressures on Georgi, there is word, or at least I've heard this, that it was the Armenian and Azerbaijani national security services that put pressure on Georgia to shut down Tekali. And I wondered, do you know if that's true, or is that just gossip?
As I know, not only from Georgi, and even Georgian special security somehow was engaged in that, because as we know, the special securities don't have troubles with cooperation with each other. They cooperate well when they kidnapping oppositional activists or something else. So that's why even there are some proof that even Russian oriented or Russian special security also was involved in stopping this, because like the biggest one of the biggest military representation in region is Russian. So that's why the way of militaries do the education they have from Russia, unfortunately. And one of the reasons why Georgi was in Georgia, it wasn't the main reason wasn't to give an interview to Emin Milli. That was last one. The main reason was he wanted to go to Tekali, because one of the family that we were guests there, that we used their house and land to organize this. One of that family was attacked by.
Yura, we lost you. I think you muted yourself.
So that family was attacked by Georgian police, and the reason, official reason, was something with financial crime or taxes. But now I forgot the name. Maybe you will help. The guy who presented the big part of land near the road for Tekali process. Mushvik, I'm sorry. And Mushvik is in prison now. He's sentenced for 8 years. And because of this language difficulties, Georgi didn't know Azerbaijani. He asked someone, and this someone was Emin Milli, to go to Tekali and to start to do something there for, because maybe it's not question, maybe he had faults, but his family was attacked, and this wasn't about 8 years in prison. So people who were connecting with Georgi in these villages, Georgian villages, they also were attacked. So about special security, Onik. Me personally, I was called to Armenian Special Security Service for secret conversation, and the first time when I was called from them, I was kind of afraid. You never know. You start to. It was about 15 years ago, and they were asking about Georgia, about Tekali process. So they tried to be deep there. They are not as smart as we imagine, and so they are involved, sure, because as we know, elites we have, they are crazy about control, and even with Georgi, they could be okay with Georgi if Georgi would discuss with them, would just if you have permission, you can do everything, and they are crazy about giving you permission for everything. So you can be free, but you should have the permission. And when you work directly without contacting this special security guy in very direct village, in very direct region, so or you contact, but you deal with others not through him. So not with people who are suggested from local authorities. So that's why, yes, they are responsible. And about Georgi, we saw what they did during war after he wrote letter to leaders of two countries. And even I think they will, I don't know exactly, I should ask his relatives, but they wanted to have this 1 million drams even after his death, because he was sentenced to give government 1 million dram. So yes, but from other point of view, we know that very many people in our region who are active, they somehow talk about special security, about KGB, about Israeli special security with conspiracy. And you never know, is it real or not, one way. And I can't blame that people, not all of them, because that's how they work. They can follow you 2 times, and they will follow you the way you know they follow you. And after that, you will do everything yourself. So you should be, so this paranoia, you should become paranoid to live after that. So that's why the main questions, as I said, do we have other agenda than they dictate? But yes, the answer is yes, special securities are responsible for violence that happened against Georgi.
Thank you for the points. Let us move on to Edita.
Yes, I just wanted to mention about these grants for peace building and like how they give it. I'm really surprised, to be honest, to see. I don't want to point out the names, but I think people who were in this field or are in this field, they know. People who were justifying the war, somehow now I see that they are having some grants and making some peace building projects. And I cannot understand how European institutions or US institutions, they give money to such kind of people who just, they were hypocrites all the way before war. And then during the war, they became all of the sudden patriots and justifying all this violence, what happened. And then now, like, I was always disagreeing for this point of view. I heard it many times, like, first it will be the war, then we will build the peace. I cannot agree with this because it was already the war. It was the time to build peace. But some people, they were thinking, not some, very many people, it was very popular opinion. But some people, they were not pronouncing it. And during the war, we saw these people because they were very active in social media and they showed their faces. But now somehow they have some grants and somehow they are, they became one more time peace builders. And there are people who speak with them. Maybe I don't want to also to blame people who will work with them. Maybe they have their philosophy. Let's say generally, they are for let's build peace and let's don't think what this person was doing during the war. Maybe it's also correct. But for me, it was such a high level of hypocrisy that's why I was mentioning 1 year I was not doing nothing. And my friends, they know, and Zamira and yeah, Haji is now not here, Yura, they know. I was even not writing Facebook posts anymore, nothing. Because I became so many suggestions like, oh, we want to organize meetings between Armenians and Azerbaijanis, mothers of the soldiers. And it was 1 month after war. Imagine, till now, some bodies are not, they are not found or identified. And already there were people who were already ready to do some project. In this point, sometimes I wanted to have a distance. Even maybe it was it is good that mothers of both sides, they will meet and share the pain, but it needs also time. And it needs correct people, correct, or I don't know how to describe this person who should do it, but not the people, these hypocrites who they were just, they were eating grants and they will eat grants. And somehow they're receiving this. They know how to write and to achieve this money. And when Zamira wants money, yeah, no one gives. I don't know. I mean, it is very interesting, but it is also the question, why still now, if you ask about European values are not that justify the war, or even American institutions who are for peace, but somehow they are giving money. And yes, and it's a pity to see it. I cannot, and for me it's really, now I should just choose some people with whom I can talk, and it is also not good. But somehow I became now like this, and I don't know, maybe I will change my opinion because person is also changing. But for now, it is really very painful to see this everything. Or yeah, this is what I wanted to mention.
Thank you, Edita. We are almost out of time. Maria, you wanted to make a point, I believe.
Yeah, 3 of them actually. Like firstly, I feel like we're always talking about like politicians, the ones who are giving the grants, I don't know, journalists and stuff like that. But I feel like we as human beings, no matter what is our profession and gender and nationality and stuff like that, as a humans who live in a conflict area, again, no matter where we are, but this time for Armenians and Azerbaijanis, have to acknowledge and decide every day on a daily basis, almost like every second, to deny the war, because it's not just in the battle or on social media. Like when you buy toys to your kids, for example, and you buy these guns, or you buy this certain kind of clothes, like colors or stuff like that, or you take them to the certain kind of museums, or you teach them to play certain kind of games, and you think, oh yeah, that's nothing to be very innocent, that's just a game, you know, or you listen to certain kind of songs. Many examples, you know, or who are the heroes of those children. Then you contribute. So what I'm trying to say is that each day, on every second, you either contribute to peace or you contribute to war, whether you're aware of that or you're not. And it's okay not to be aware, because like the environment is not promoting that. But if you are, I believe that if you come from a certain kind of background, and now I can talk about journalists, for example, because that's what I know, then your role is, and your responsibility, I believe, is bigger, because you have more audience, for example, and you know more, and you are more privileged, I would say, even. So I would like everyone who's watching this to think about this, like whether what we are contributing to. And I'm also thinking about this as an environmentalist, for example. It's not that there's other people, or even like, and also if you're a peace activist or whatever that is called, you're not being a hero. That's a normal thing. Like, you're a normal human being. You're not better than anyone. You just maybe have more resources and you contribute to a certain thing. So I would like to mention that like peace activists should not feel that they are better than others or stuff like that. It's a normal human thing, but like some people have more resources to do that and the others don't. The second point I wanted to mention about Georgia, when I'm talking about Georgia, I don't think about the government, and usually I don't think about government personally, by the way. I know that they have power, I know they have a role and stuff like that, but I don't think about that. So when I mentioned about Georgia, like I studied at Georgia, and I had the Azerbaijani classmates, and I know that many other people had it in, like, I don't know, Germany or somewhere else. But Georgia is the most, let's say, accessible for many place for many Armenians and Azerbaijanis, also financially. And that's a place that you can afford just, you know, to go to have a, I don't know, holiday, for example, somewhere in Batumi, and then suddenly you meet an Azerbaijani or an Armenian. So it's an important place still, in my opinion, also like in terms of economy, like what people can actually afford. And many people can afford to go to Georgia, and they cannot afford to go to Germany or stuff like that. And when it comes to studying with Armenians or Azerbaijanis, like you work on the same project, you do the assignments together, you hang out together. Like, I feel like Georgia, or there are festivals in Georgia, like I forgot the name, South Caucasus or something, which is the most affordable place, and it's important. I know that we have internet, I know that we have technology, so it's very important. But still, Georgia is the most affordable place for Armenians and Azerbaijanis to see each other, to talk to each other, unless we have open borders, unless we can have, you know, we can visit each other. So I find, and Georgia is very dear to me, so I have this personal attitude as well. I find Georgia very important, and not that, maybe it's too rude to say I don't care about politicians and stuff like that, but on a personal level, I don't know any other place in the world and in the region that is as important as Georgia. So that's why I brought Georgia. And also about the grants, yeah, I would just like to mention that, like, when you make these daily based decisions, it doesn't get to the point of thinking about the grant. But at the same time, and for example, Bright Garden is a very good example of when people actually contribute voluntarily, no one gives us money. But at the same time, like peace building and doing such kind of stuff, like organizing even online meetings, that's again, everyday job. You contribute your time, you contribute to like many important things, and people need money for that. So what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, maybe the message that I would like to send after this three points that I mentioned is to appreciate what we have and appreciate what many people do, and try thinking, even the ones whom we never heard of, and think on a daily basis, what do we contribute to? and whether we are honest with our intentions, and whether we are honest with our actions, and whether we do our best. Yeah,
Thank you, Mariam. Thank you, everyone. Diego, is there anything you want to add?
No, I just want to thank everybody. I think this, yeah, many very interesting thoughts have come up. I could say a couple of stuff, but we're over time already. So just want to thank everybody.
Thank you, Zam, Yura, Edita, and Haji for joining us. Thank you, Yura, for staying with us even with your fever and being sick. I'm also sick myself, highly medicated for this meeting. And yeah, thank you everyone who joined us. Hope to see you all in the next meeting. Please follow us. And by the way, if you're organizing anything, any of our guests, please let us know. Maybe we can, circulate it, advertise it. Even maybe we can organize to help with some funds from the diaspora, organize, help with fundraising or anything. There are different ways maybe we can help you. So please let us know if you have any initiative in mind. And that's it. Thank you, everyone, and hope to see you next time. Cheers.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you for organizing.
Thank you for coming.